The root of all problems lies within me. Now, please take away the personal. Okay? So let's move this speaker to one side. Okay? So the speaker is here. Okay, now let's leave the speaker as it is. But these words that the speaker spoke is here. And it's not relevant to the speaker. It's not relevant to you. These are just words. The root of all problems is within me. Now, if you're some sort of intelligent academic and you have these words in front of you and you have to examine and analyze every definition that's not personal to you, that's not personal to any single human being, you're analyzing and identifying with what the possible meanings of this statement is. The root of all problems is within me. Meaning, the root of all problems is within this word, me. Okay? Now, we're not analyzing ourselves right now. We're not self-inquiring. We're inquiring about the words. So what's the problem with this word, me? Still not taking ownership of this word, me. What is the problem with this word, me? Can you define a problem with the word me? Okay, let's, first step, maybe look up dictionary. What does me mean? And then it takes you back to that personal state. Okay? Matters not how long you analyze this statement. At some point, you're going to have to take ownership of the word me. So therefore, the mind says, the problem is not in the word. The problem is that what is associated or is defined as this me. 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 Now that's just one statement. And that's a particular off-the-cuff statement from this speaker. It wasn't planned. Didn't organize and say, I'm going to sit here and speak about this particular statement. The statement arose. Okay, so there are many statements that arise within you that you take personal without even thinking about. They are only words initially. They're only thoughts. Thoughts are made up of sounds, syllables, into words, into a belief that they are, because I have been educated, this mind has been educated into learning about these sounds, these syllables, these words. So therefore there are my sounds, my syllables, and my words, my thoughts. So therefore I am this me that was initially a word. Does this make sense? Before any human being could speak, when they just grunted, and someone says, here is a statement, right? Some God comes down, here's a statement. All problems arise, the root of all problems arise within me. Not a clue. So there are words predominantly that have been taken on in a vacation and as a I'm responsible for this word me. Who is I now? I am responsible for this word me. I am responsible for me. Well, in our primitive life, the body is responsible for staying alive. That's an absolute fact. That is our natural and any living thing's instinctive, intuitive way is to stay alive. So I am responsible for this me surviving through this life. I am responsible for what I eat and what I drink and how much sleep I need and where I can go without endangering my body. But I'm not responsible for the thoughts. I'm not responsible for the words. I'm not responsible for the associations of me. I'm not responsible for I am. That is something that is gifted. Whether it's created by myself as this superior, universal, profound space, or whether it's created by a God or consciousness or whatever, or Brahman, Atman, matters not. I'm only responsible for me staying alive. But now we have taken ownership. We are responsible for everything in the world. If the people are starving in some country, you're responsible because you haven't donated. If your government crashes or the banks crash, you're responsible for taking out too much credit. We have become self-sacrificial, self-harming our body and our mind into becoming so insignificant that I am to blame for the whole world. I am responsible for the thoughts within this me. I am responsible for how I act. I am responsible for how much money I have and how much money I give. I am responsible for selecting and choosing whether a vaccine is mine or not, whether I shall be faithful, whether I shall be honorable, the 10 Commandments, all this stuff, these rules, these regulations, these guidelines. I'm responsible for the whole pandemic because I am. I have thought myself into this complete responsibility. Therefore, I hate what I have become. This is the ego mind in its way of self-destructing. You'll notice about my particular awakening and maybe Eckhart Tolle's particular awakening. It was a deformation. It was a primitive way of dehypnotizing and going back into saying, I don't know who I am, meaning I'm not able to understand life through this conditioned, inherited educational way that I have been made responsible through my own, not by others, by my own willingness to take on the responsibility. And I don't want this responsibility anymore. So awakening enlightenment in this way can be seen as a weakness. Because you didn't go through Christ, you didn't go through religion, you didn't go through practices and methods in Buddhism, so therefore you're exempt. You're a traitor within this world of, saintlyhood. But I don't mind. I don't care. Because I am responsible for me and the survival of this body. And I am responsible for any other body that comes into danger. Because that's instinctive nature. But I'm not responsible for the world and the state it is in. I'm not responsible for the pandemic. I'm not responsible for my thoughts that were granted through syllables and words and nouns, put into ways and meanings by an educational system, by parents, by past. Not that they're any different. There's no one different. We're all put into a systematic process of being responsible. Responsibility is an idea that is based from primitive intuition. We need to survive. That's what the body is saying to the mind, and the mind saying to the body. Together as one, we need to survive. The spirit and the soul are also in this community. Because when body goes, spirit goes, soul goes, mind goes, consciousness goes. They all separate. They don't die. They don't die. You maybe travel somewhere else with your same quality of mind into another body. You may travel somewhere else as the spirit. You may travel into this whole soul of life. You may travel into the consciousness and return as some sort of hedge. That's not your doing. That's not your responsibility. Our responsibility is not to become enlightened and not to become awake, not to experience profound joy, profound pleasure. Our responsibility is not to make everyone in the world happy or to feed everyone. Our responsibility is to be here and accept life for what it is. It is a minefield of mind. We don't feel responsible for watching the news. It is automatic. Oh, 6 o'clock, what's happening in the world? How can I make myself feel worse? How can I make myself feel worse about what I am guilty for? If only I had won the lottery, I would save all the planets, all the people, all the countries. I would give to all the poor. But I'm not. I'm a failure. I just sit here and I can't do anything about it. Because there is nothing you can do about it. The whole problem, as David Bohm says, this is not a ranting, raving lunatic. You may think so. I read philosophy now. David Bohm. The idea that we try to overcome our responsibilities, to overcome and create some sort of ways to help others and improve and all this stuff is okay. But it goes beyond that point of we're messing around with nature. We're messing around with that natural law of life, that law of the universe. Let everything be. Be responsible for your body. Be responsible for your breath and keeping your body active. Be responsible for how you eat. Be responsible for all these things about yourself. Be responsible for looking after your children. But you're not responsible for the world and the state it's in. So stop thinking these thoughts. As soon as these thoughts disappear from your life, they disappear from all lives. You don't see the news as some serious thing to say, oh my God, look at the state of the world. You see it as the same as some of soap opera. And most will say, oh, that's very, very, very immature. You know, we should be worrying about the world. Who is we? Do you see other predominant figures worrying about the world? If they are, they're selected. They're put in saintlyhood in gowns, or they're put in suits and ties, pretending that they are really interested. They're just in a position of falling into the trap of, we have to do something. We have to do something. We have to accept our great being. Maybe a one-off visit to this planet. We have to accept that we have emotional sensory equipment that can enhance the color of the sky, enhance the color of all the things that are surrounding us. And we're not responsible for loving life. Because life is a reflection of ourselves. Life loves us. Nature loves humanity. Nature absolutely loves the idea that it can see individual components walking around, dancing and jumping, when all of life in its nature, apart from animals, is stuck. It's stuck to the earth. It cannot move. But we feel responsible for dancing. We shouldn't be dancing because, that one's family passed. We shouldn't be singing. We shouldn't be doing all this stuff. We have to be concerned. We have to be worried. We have to get to the drawing board, into the computer. We have to make programs. We have to simplify life by putting in more complex programs, more apps, more ways. And these are all right. Let life go on in whatever way it goes on. But you're not responsible for any of the thoughts that come into your head. You've been believing that you've been responsible. You're believing that they disappear, hoping that they disappear. You've been believing that, yes, one day we'll all come together. No. One day we are already together. When the thoughts disappear of what is not your responsibility, that life is precious, life is great, life is wonderful as it is. Life is just great when the breath comes into the lungs and leaves the lungs. Life is great when there's food on the table. Life is great when the children are laughing and singing. Life is great when you love walking in nature. That's your responsibility, to love life and those around you. And don't feel negative and responsible for what is taking place in our world. Unless you are raping the world, reaping the world, plagiarizing the world, then you become that ego-driven powerhouse that just wants to destroy. And destruction means the destruction of humanity. This planet cannot be destroyed and we remain floating in space. Well, okay, it's only the planet. Where are we going to go now? What are we going to do now? Let's go to that planet. Let's destroy that planet. No, we are destroyed with the planet. So watch what you think. Watch what you think you are responsible for. You're only responsible for being here in your true essence, in your true nature, in your true original self. You are a loving being, a completely unique, wondrous being that is here for pleasure, not for pleasure, but for an experience of witnessing such profound, mystical, incredible creativity. Life. Who created it? Be grateful for that who creates it. Be grateful for your consciousness. And this consciousness will reveal God within you.